everybody? Oh my gosh, this is such a special day. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2019 Surfers Walk of Fame induction ceremony presented to you by the city of Hermosa Beach. Today, we honor the past, celebrate the present, and inspire the future of our surfing culture. This year, we have the pleasure of inducting 4 amazing surfers into the Walk of Fame. Representing the Pioneer category, Ronnie Garner. Representing the Female Legend category, Liz Benavides. Representing the South Bay Legend category, Pat Gumby Ryan. And last, representing the Cultural Legend category, the Beach Boys. They are the first band to be inducted into our Surfers Walk of Fame. Let's hear it for the Beach Boys. It's truly amazing how big this event has grown. From the days of a couple of folding chairs in front of the Tim Kelly statue to this magnificent festival that you see before us. This is a culmination of almost a year's worth of work and a lifetime of commitment from the inductees. City staff begins collecting nominations as soon as this event ends. A few months later, the judging panel gets together and reviews the selected nominees. Once that's complete and the nominees are selected, staff gets to work coordinating everything. Phil Roberts puts pen to paper and puts together our commemorative posters. Let's hear it for Phil. At the Easy Reader starts assembling the program magazine that's turned into one of the event's most favorite takeaways. The Historical Society, let's hear it for Kevin and the Easy Reader. The Historical Society and the South Bay Board Riders begin planning the Friday night kickoff party. And for those of you who didn't attend last night, we had over 500 people in attendance. It was truly a spectacular party. And then finally, Spider Boards begins producing the crown jewel of the event, the Surf Festival, with the industry's top vendors giving away tons of free stuff for everybody to celebrate our inductees. This is truly a community effort and has become one of Hermosa Beach's most important events. Now I would like to introduce Mayor Pro Tem Mary Campbell.
Hey everyone! How's everybody doing? Nice weather today. I just want to formally, as the Mayor Pro Tem of Hermosa Beach, and on behalf of the city, welcome everyone to this outstanding event. We're so proud to host it. You know, I came to surfing later in life. I was in my 30s when my husband taught me how to surf, and my son was just starting Maricosta. And we instantly became one of those families who surfed every single weekend, unless it was impossible, Saturday and Sunday, all around the South Bay, and every single vacation that we took was a surf family vacation. And it is literally one of the most fondest periods of my entire life. So I couldn't be prouder to be here with you all and help celebrate our wonderful honorees today. So everybody enjoy, and here we go.
Thank you, Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my co-MC, Surfers Walk of Fame inductee, South Bay's John Joseph.
Thank you, Yanni. Welcome, everybody. This is the 15th year of this ceremony. We started in 2004, and as Yanni said, it was really growing. A couple real quick things. We've lost 2 people that were integral in the part of this. Although we didn't always get along, we lost Roger Bacon this year. Basically organized, and through his efforts, this has developed into this. We lost him, and then we lost one of our pioneer members, Ward Baker at 94, just last month. The uncle of John Baker, one of our legends here today. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce everybody that's in the Walk of Fame, but we have a couple surfers of note that I'd like to recognize. First of all, we have former world champion Peter Townend. PT, where are you? And we have one of my favorite surfers ever, Ellen Sarlo from the Malibu area. It's here somewhere, Ellen. Could I have all of you former inductees please stand, and I'll try to go around and get y'all. And if I miss you, just sort of throw something at me. So get on your feet, please. Guys, this is like going to Dodger Stadium and sitting next to Duke Snider or Sandy Koufax. This is amazing here. Okay, over here in the front row, right here, in the white hair, holding on the pole, is Tom Fox. Tom Rice, I'm sorry. And next to him, we have John Baker, the ageless wonder.
Yeah.
Then we have everybody's favorite surfer, Chris Bredesen. Under the canopy, I see in a black shirt, Derek Levy. And next to him is his brother Mark Levy. And the big guy next to Mark is Donald, old guys rule Craig. He has a right to that saying. And next to him is John Whitney Gill. Is there anybody else on this side that I missed? I can't see. Oh, okay, we got, all the way from Hawaii, we got Chris Barella here. From Durango, Colorado, we have Jim Graham. How about on this side? I see that we have Mike Purpose over here somewhere. Michael? Next to Mike Purpose, I see John Leninger. I know I saw Kip Jurger here. Is Kip here? Where's Kip? He's on the pier surfing probably. Either that or making a rescue. Is there anyone that I missed? Mike Benavides is here. There he is. Hey. This is Butler. Is that everybody? Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to start the inductions. Oh, and Scott Daly's here also from Spider, putting on Spider Fest. You guys get blended in. It's hard to see it with my old eyes. And we have Candy Woodward, last year inductee. Candy is here, for sure. Did I see Mary Lou Drummy here also? I thought I might have seen her earlier, but I don't see her in the crowd. And Candy was amazing last year. Okay, we're going to start the presentations right now. The first people up is going to be Ronnie Garner, and representing Ronnie Garner is Dennis, more well known as Seahawk Cassidy. Dennis, come on up.
Thank you, John. So, thanks all for coming. Today I would like to thank the Academy, thank my beautiful wife, my producer Mitchell, my cameraman Russ. Oh, sorry, that's a wrong speech. Ronnie started surfing back, I think, when he was about 8 years old. That's a very long time ago. They brought me on first, so all the older people in the audience wouldn't fall asleep. Anyway, Ronnie surfed Dapper Dan Surf Club, Windansea Surf Club, wrote for Gordon Smith, wrote for Rick Surfboards, Terry Weber, surfed in contests from Santa Cruz all the way down to San Diego, and was very good. Rated, I think, number 15 by the United States Surfing Association.
I went around the world.
And then inducted into the service in, I believe, 1968. So we'd like to thank Ronnie and any other veterans for your service. Well, hopefully that'll work. And anyway, Ronnie's surfing career, I think, got shortened there by the service for a couple of years. When he came back, he continued on, surfing a lot of longboard contests and doing pretty well. He's a very good surfer, still at it. If you ever surf with Ronnie or spend any time surfing with him, he would make you a better surfer. He was always giving you some instructions. He'd always give you encouragement, and just great guy to be around. So with all that said, I will turn it over to Ronnie and let him do his thing. Here he is, Ronnie Garner.
Wow. I think Dennis said everything. Like I said, I grew up here. I love surfing. I think I even ditched a little school to go surfing. Ted Gossard used to drive me to school, and I would go out to the senior parking lot, and somebody leave keys in the car for me, go back and surf and come back for second period. He called me in one day. He says, "What are all these truants first period?" And I go, "What are you talking about, Ted?" I said, "I ride to school with you every day." He goes, "Yeah, it's got to be a mistake." So I got out of that one. Yeah, growing up around here is like unbelievable. And this induction is a mind blower. I mean, I grew up knowing all the good guys and stuff and just surfing with them. Didn't consider myself part of them, but I just tried to blend in, you know. Everybody go, "Are you any good?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I go in the water, I have a good time, and see what the judges say." And I guess they liked it. So, I mean, I had my rough times. I did my bad boy days, and I cleaned up my act 34 years ago, thanks to my lovely wife and my daughter. Marry a nurse. They told me I had 5 minutes, but I don't think I could say anything for 5 minutes and keep it clean. I want to thank you all very much for coming. I think I probably know 85–90% of the crowd. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Right, Don Craig? And I want to say that Wayne Miata really kept me surfing a bunch. Wayne was a great guy.
Next up, we have Liz Benvenides, and presenting her will be Steve Martin. This is the third year in a row we've had a female inductee, and we've got 3 or 4 more on the list, and there should be one every year for the next couple decades, hopefully. We're so happy that we're starting to fill up the ladies up here. In the early years, they just didn't surf. The boards were too big, and we've gotten through the longboard era, and now we have so many talented female surfers, and we're so happy to be doing that every year. Anyway, we'd like to see Martin up here, please. Steve Martin, is he here? And Liz, you need to come on up on stage.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm here to introduce Liz Benvenides because I'm a friend of hers that we all grew up together surfing here at the pier. And we started with her brother, Mike Benvenides, who's inducted himself before. And we're all part of the My Purpose Surf group. And we all stayed down here, and for whatever we could do to stay here. And we were all one big group. And Liz had a really awesome. We had a huge group of people that surfed here. It was the biggest, amazing place to be at that time. And Liz had a bunch of girls that surfed with her, and a lot of our friends. And she just started getting good. And what happened was, she went to Hawaii, and she entered a contest, and she got 5th, and it was the Offshore Masters. And that first year, it was at Sunset, and she got Rookie of the Year that year. And then she went back the next year, and she got second to Margot Oberg at Sunset also. And so she got second in the world that year. So. what was so cool is that Liz, like Sunset didn't scare her. That's the only place she served. And she served with a lot of amazing women at that time, like Lane Beachley, Margot Oberg, Lynn Boyer, Rel Sun. It was just an amazing group of women that, like, they were just solid. And she was a grum. And the thing about Liz is she is so nice. And she has such a good heart. And at that young age, they tried to take advantage of her. And not in a bad way, just because she's a grum, right? But if she wasn't scared of Sunset, so she was not scared of any of them. So, because Sunset's not an easy way to serve. So the thing is, at that time, we didn't have managers, and I mean, they didn't have managers and handlers and everything. To be a pro surfer, you basically had to piecemeal your life together with like some random check and like a box of clothes a month. And the funny thing is, we were going through her stuff, like she had this time capsule, and we were going through it, and she had on the back of envelopes all of her stuff written out, little budgets, and you know, she had to piecemeal the whole thing together, and it was just like, it wasn't easy at all. There's nothing about it was easy. But, you know, that's what we did. Like, the only way you can find out anything was like waiting for a phone call to find out what happened or what's going on, you know? So, fast forward, what happened was, after that, Liz just, she did good. Like, a couple of her notable things she did were like second in the OP, and she did a few OP pros, which was the big contest, and then she was like still second in the world in 85 and 86. But then life came up and she had to like get a job, and then she started working at ETs, and then boom, she moved to Kauai and raised a beautiful family and stayed with the ocean the whole time, and she still does. And to know Liz, like, I mean, no one has a better heart. Liz is the queen. You know, it's like amazing. She's so humble that like when we told her about this, she had to go get all of her pictures out, and we just sat there and looked at them because they were in her closet for all these years, for 30 years. So it was pretty awesome, and we're glad that she finally agreed to, you know, yeah. So that was pretty awesome. I mean, right now? So, just the other night, I'm like, we were talking on the phone, and I'm like, there's the music. Anyway, she's still doing stuff. She's still on the boat, the fishing boat, and she hasn't given it up at all. So, give a big hand for Liz and everybody else, and her family, and her daughter. And she's a grandma with 2 beautiful little grandkids. So, you know, we're all happy for her. So, thank you.
My daughter wants to put a calculator on my head here, so give me a minute. That's perfect. This is Coral. Thank you. Hold on. Okay, so hello everybody. Thanks for coming today. First of all, I'd like to thank my good friend Steve for the great, wonderful speech. For introducing me, and I'd like to thank the city of Hermosa Beach, the board of directors, and everyone who supports this event. I'd also like to thank my family and friends for being here today and supporting me throughout my surfing journey. Thank you. So when I was 13 years old, my brother Michael, Chris Burra, Terry Stevens, rest in peace, Mike Purpose, we used to surf the Hermosa Pier, and that's pretty much right out here is where I learned how to surf. And, I didn't have my own surfboard or wetsuit or anything like that back then, so I'd whenever Michael and the guys got out of the water, I'd go grab whatever board was available or whatever wetsuit or trunks, and I'd head out there and just go surf right out here. And surfing came naturally to me. I knew that eventually I wanted to pursue a surfing career. Mike bought me my first surfboard from ET Surf when I turned 14. So that was awesome. And that's kind of cool that we have the other inductee here, Pat Ryan, who shaped the board. And anyways, so I started competing in local surf contests and doing pretty well. Eventually, I became a professional surfer and surfed the Pro Tour. Surfing back in the 70s and 80s wasn't easy for female surfers because it was a male-dominated sport. It was difficult for me and other female surfers to secure sponsors to help cover expenses to allow us to travel around the world to compete. Because of that, I needed to train harder and make sure I placed in the top 3. As tough as it was to become a pro surfer back in the day, I wouldn't be the person I am today without experiencing the challenges I faced. My hope is that I have helped pave the way for women surfing and what it has become today. Last year, the WSL finally started rewarding equal prize money equal prize money for men and women together. My heart is happy to receive this beautiful plaque, and thank you, Hermosa Beach, for honoring me, and thank you, Mayor Campbell, for presenting me for this wonderful plaque.
Before I call up the next group, I just want to, because I think it's fitting with Liz just speaking, we have a lady here that was founder of the first Women's Professional Association surfing back probably 45 years ago. A lot of you may remember her. She spoke on behalf of Candy yesterday. Patty Pacheco. Is she here? I thought I saw her in the crowd. Is Patty here? Candy? No? Okay. And we really needed to thank her. Liz wouldn't have been able to do what she did without that group that Candy was involved in also. All right, our next honoree is going to be Pat Gumby Ryan. And listen to this statistic. He's shaped between 25 and 30,000 surfboards in his 40-year career here. Think about that, 25 to 30,000 surfboards. It's amazing. And presenting him is Vince Ray. A lot of you may know him for his 28 years running the Hermosa Surf Camp. And for the last 20 years, he's surfing Santa on the cover of Easy Reader every Christmas. Vince Ray?
Yeah!
Hi, I'm Vince Ray. Pat Ryan, craftsman and waterman. When Pat was 15, he used to hang out at the Greg Knoll Surf Shop. He was a surf rat. When an employee didn't show up, they put him to work. Greg Knoll was so impressed by Pat's hard work ethic that he hired Pat on the spot. Eventually, Greg taught Pat to shape. Eddie Talbot started working for Greg Knoll also, and became the manager. After Greg Knoll Surfboards closed, Eddie Talbot started ET Surfboards and hired Pat to shape boards. That was a long time ago, like 25 million boards ago. I met Pat at ET in the 70s when it was located on the north side of aviation next to Big Lots. It's kind of a ramshackle shack.
Anyway, Pat has shaped many, many boards since then for pros and average Joes. Pat has taught many people how to shape boards and design boards, including me. Australian Bob McTavish, he's the co-inventor of the shortboard and the high-performance longboard. And his boards were too expensive to ship from Australia to here, so he's looking for a shaper. He hired Pat Ryan. That's quite an honor. Bob McTavish is one of the best surfboard designers ever. Pat is a good surfer. He placed in the finals of every Western Surfing Association contest he entered. He surfed Hermosa Pier almost every day. We called it Pat's Pier. After a while, we got bored with contests and Hermosa Surf, and we went on many surf trips in California and Baja. We had adventures exploring all the different beaches and cities, and that's one of the best parts of surfing, I think, is traveling with friends. Then, windsurfing was invented. Pat started windsurfing and making windsurfers. He excelled quickly. At Hurricane Gulch in San Pedro, he was the fastest and the quickest on a windsurfer. After only 2 years sailing, he made the Southern California windsurfing finals twice. But Pat really excelled in waves on the windsurfer. I have photos of him jumping 30 feet high at County Line. We often traveled to San Carlos Bay in Baja. It's a trestles-like setup, 3 right points. Anyway, Pat was out there in 40 knots, doing aerial off the lips and flips. One day, the surf got up to 20 feet. Pat connected all 3 points. The locals went crazy. No one had ever done it. I don't think anyone has done it since. Pat was one of the South Bay's best windsurfers. Then Pat broke his neck playing basketball, with severe injury. So he started stand-up paddling for rehab because it was too dangerous to surf. He practiced for 3 to 4 hours every day, and he's now winning all the paddleboard races. He won the peer-to-peer race 3 years in a row, and then he placed 5th in the all-age category. Oh, breaking news. There was the Big Wave Challenge Awards last night. The winner of the Big Wave Challenge Award was on a Pat Ryan board. And the winner for the biggest wipeout was on the Pat Ryan board. Anyway, Pat now excels at another water sport. If you could catch him, you'll see him paddling around the pier and down to the breakwater and back. Pat Ryan, craftsman and waterman.
Rod Gardner, Les Buenavidas, Beach Boys, it's a pleasure to be inducted with you. I'm honored, proud, and humbled for the recognition of my camaraderie with and my service to you all. I'm going to thank some people, tell a surf story. John Teague wants a message, then I'll thank some more people. But first, I want to address the elephant in the room. So, to all you who had to wait way too long for your surfboards, it was always the glass shop, never me. That's great. I'm going to thank people in chronological order. So, Mom comes first. My late mom. And my late mom made sure I always had a ride to go surfing any place between Point Conception and Mexican border. And she gave up her bras so that I could have a shaving room. And I want to go on and on about Mom, but I'm just going to say this, down here. I had a wonderful mom, And that's why I came out so darn nice myself. And James and Andrew, it's wonderful being your dad. Greg Knoll. I want to thank Greg Knoll for giving me my first job in the surfboard industry and for teaching me how to shape. Greg Knoll's stories are always the best, and I'm delighted to be able to say that right now, the wooden boards that Greg Knoll shapes are the most beautiful surfboards I've ever seen. And E.T., thank you for E.T. surfboards. E.T. surfboards is the vehicle that made it possible for me to make a hobby into a job for 50 years.
Yeah, they took the boats up there.
Our biggest argument was when I was about 16 and we were at Cardiff. And E.T. wanted to go, and I wanted to stay. So I said to E.T., "You don't care about surfing." Those, my friends, were fighting words. I can't really tell you what happened after that, unless you buy me a beer later or something. But what I will say is that Ed's passion for surfing and for all of us is reflected in the spirit of every salesman on the floor at ET Surfboards. Finally, I'd like to thank Joey Lombardo. Joey Lombardo told Purpose that if he didn't vote for me, he wouldn't take him on any more surf trips. And John Teague, here's your message. It's a message I shared for years with my good friend, Young Jimmy, who you guys all know as Jimmy Young. And the message is, hang on to 16 long as you can. And I have a couple examples too. My first surf hero is a guy named Jeff Hackman. And Jeff Hackman's 70 years old now. Last winter, I was talking to him and he told me that a month before, he had just gotten the best wave of his life. Then, about a year ago also, I'm paddling into the harbor with my good friend Gene Smith. We come along to outrigger guru Al Ching. And we stop to talk to Al. And what's Al talking about? He's talking about what a wonderful day it was out there and getting better. So anyway, I hope that all you guys have your best wave, your best ride still in the future. I'm honored to represent the Hermosa surf culture and surf industry. I'm proud of my work, and I'm proud that I get along with a lot of people. I'm humbled, not just because of the people on the pier, but from all the surfers that I see last night. I'm also humbled in terms of all the wonderful Hermosa residents that might not even surf, but achieve such wonderful things in life. As honored as I am, for me, the journey is truly the reward. To paraphrase an old Dave Mason song, I am happy just to be a part of all I see. So whether you see me on the pier, in the water, at a market, or especially if you see me at the happiest place on earth, ET Surfboards, thank you for having me as part of your community. On behalf of all local shapers, thank you for the tip of the hat and support for a local shaper.
a lot of you were expecting the Beach Boys today. So were we. Due to circumstances beyond their control and prior commitments, they're unable to be here today. However, we are going to do a presentation, and I'm just going to spend about a minute or so on some of their highlights. They started as a garage band in 1961 with Carl Wilson, Dennis Wilson, and Brian Wilson, their friend El Jardine, and their lead singer, Mike Love. When they started out, their first name was not the Beach Boys. They were the Pendletons, or the Pendletones, a take on one of the popular apparel lines at that time, Pendleton. And we have the Pendleton Man for 20 years. If you saw an ad with Pendleton in it, we have on our Walk of Fame here, Kip Jurger was the Pendleton, associated with him for 20 years. And every ad that the Pendleton did, Kip right here. The band, over the years, have had really 3 additions besides the original founders. First, they had David Marks, and then for a short period, they had Glenn Campbell, and then for close to 50 years now, they have Bruce Johnson, who I thought would be showing up today, but he had a prior commitment. In the 60s, the term California Sound was in reference to the Beach Boys' take on music, surfing, and cars. And it became popular throughout the United States after that. Just 2 things that I'd like to conclude with. Their top 10 U.S. singles, 36 of them, is the all-time record for any group or individual in the top 10 in the U.S. 36, think about that. And in 1988, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And at that time, Rolling Stones magazine ranked them as the number 12 group of all time, which is quite an accomplishment if you think about it. Today, 50 years later, they're still selling out. I just saw them last year at Paula, and they were as good as they've ever been. And with that, the mayor's going to present the trophy, and we'll be concluding. Yanni will have some words for you.
Before we close the ceremony, we have one more presentation. I would like to bring Al Marisucci to the podium, please.
All right, good morning, Hermosa Beach. Good morning, South Bay. My name is Al Marisucci, and I have the proud privilege to be able to represent Hermosa in the South Bay. And I want to join all of you here to celebrate the South Bay surf culture, honor all of the new inductees into the Surfers Walk of Fame. Thank you very much to the City of Hermosa Beach, Mayor Pro Tem Mary Campbell, and Spider Surf. I don't know if Dennis Jarvis is still around here, but thank you, Dennis, for always putting on this great show. I understand that the induction was the formalities, and the festival here is the party, as Dennis likes to put it. So thank you, Dennis, for putting this on every year. Want to congratulate pioneer Ron Garner, female legend Liz Benavidez, South Bay legend Pat Ryan, and cultural legend Beach Boys. And so on behalf of the state of California, I want to present this beautiful resolution thanking the city of Hermosa Beach, thanking Dennis Jarvis and Spider Surf for always celebrating South Bay surfing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you next year.